Good morning. Happy Monday. It's Mommy Mondays. It's Kia here. When you get in, let me know if you can hear and see me okay. Trying a different camera today and see how that works out. Um, but when you get in, uh, let me know. I know some people are off today. Happy Juneteenth. Happy belated Father's Day. Oh, we have had a lot going on this weekend. And Miss Ava here is looking at me. So give me 1 second. Had to throw her some snacks sometimes. But am I the only one that was just blown away by all the Father's Day love? I really hope that it demolishes a lot of the, well, men ain't, or, so many fathers are absent, things of that nature. There are a lot of fathers that are stepping up. And so I want to say kudos. I want to say yay. And I'm so excited for just more and seeing more and more fathers step up and doing what needs to be done in the home. And so today is no different. Today we're talking about joint parenting. And I'm gonna be honest, I was a little sideways because I really want to say co-parenting, but then when I looked up the definition, when the two aren't together. But if you're married with kids, you know what I mean. It doesn't always feel like it's um it's unified sometimes, and I think that there's a part of us having to play in that. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Um, how do we incorporate fatherhood and motherhood and really help us, because I believe this is really some of the reasons why we're tired, some of the reasons why we feel like it's all on us, because we're not taught how to incorporate the father. And so that's why we're here today. And so the perfect person I thought to incorporate was my gem, my jewel, my wonderful husband whose fatherhood just blows my imagination of what a fatherhood would be out the water. He is present. He is for his family. If you see him doing anything, it's something related to his family. He is focused and driven to um, for us to meet the visions that he has for us. And so a lot of stuff he has taught me. And so I wanted to incorporate him. And so, real quick before I bring him on, I want to tell you an example. Ladies, how many of y'all rush to get off the toilet when you're handling your business? Have you ever noticed that a grown man does not rush out of the bathroom just because he hears a baby cry? Any of y'all ever notice that? You'll never see a grown man try to jump out the shower, do all that stuff that we women do. So one thing I've learned from Jonathan's fatherhood is I handle my business. And when I'm done, if he's around, of course, not if nobody else is around, but if he's around, I handle my business and then I come out pleasant, peaceful. And so that's one thing he's taught me, because one day I was like rushing, trying to figure out how to take care of the baby. And I'm like, yo, where you been? The baby was crying. I was using the bathroom. So that's the type of man that I'm marrying. Yeah, isn't that true though? There's never been a time, there's never been a moment where Jonathan was like, nah.
Ain't gonna take my piece.
Okay. And so I really appreciate that, because that really taught me, like, yo, there's a lot of stuff that I'm breaking my neck for. And he is right there. Like, I don't know where that comes from. So, like, when you think about women in our motherhood, well, first, thank you for joining us today, handsome. Thank you for waking up. He has been up all night taking care of family. Thank you for getting up to talk to us today. I couldn't find anybody in my mind that I would want to ask these questions to. So thank you for availing yourself.
Amen. Amen. I can't promise that people will like the answers, but
That's fine. We're here for the truth. We're here for the truth. So here's the first thing I want to ask you.
all right.
What are two things that you see mothers struggling with?
Um, so it's a loaded question.
Okay.
Um, so when you ask that, is that pertaining to something specific or in general?
I would say in general, as it pertains to um, rearing the kids, like the husband's around is not the excuse that
Mm-hmm.
they're alone, is not the excuse that they're a single parent. What are some things that you see women struggle with?
I want to say the the first thing I think that women struggle with is listening. And and when I say listening, I guess I say this with women who are have a partner and who don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't I believe women have this natural uh default setting to where I sometimes I could do bad all by myself and they succeed.
Go.
And they succeed. Um and they do it very well. But a woman or a mother is less likely to ask for help and more or less willing to accept advice, accept help or advice or whatever that looks like. I believe men, as 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 much as we are how we are, if we're doing something and we don't know what we're doing, yo, we need help.
Except for directions.
We need help, right? And so, I just think, it's important for mothers to know that it's all right to ask for help. It's all right to receive advice and to receive correction. Um, one, because if you're married, then it's not a competition of who's gonna be the one that the kids listen to or whose way is gonna be, incorporated the most. And so I think, for the most part, like I shared with you, I remember the first time that our first kind of, disagreement we had was probably like in the first couple of weeks of marriage, where we were moving into the home and we had an ottoman, and I was thinking, okay, if I move the ottoman over here, the family will have more room to move.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember you moved it back because you just wanted to move it back because you're
I
like,
thought
well,
better. Yeah.
I thought it was like this is how I want it for myself versus where I was thinking this is better for the family. And if I mentioned to you before, men typically think and operate and function for the sake of the family. Women, for the most part, will do it for self
No,
because
I'm gonna have
it's.
to stop you there. I don't. I
Mm,
wouldn't agree because when you say it like that, I get what you're saying, but just for when listeners are listening, when you
mm-hmm,
say it out, it sounds like women are selfish, and that's not the approach. It's more like we're thinking, okay, take the ottoman for example. We're thinking, okay, what looks best for the house? Because
mm-hmm,
oftentimes we're tired of it looking junky, so we want it to look a certain way. Um, we're thinking about, okay, I'm here all day. So what are some things I could do that helps me, flow better? So I get exactly where you're coming
mm-hmm,
from, but I wanted to address it because I think a lot of men think that too, like we just about doing whatever we want to do. And it's not necessarily that. It's men and women have different ways of thinking about things. And so
mm-hmm.
yes, you do think about our family overall general, but it's more so you're looking from a bird's eye view when we're looking more locally. So that's
Mhm.
the difference right there. You're looking from a general, everybody from a high place, and we're looking in the day to day. This is how things function. So it's more from our
Right.
vantage point versus
Right.
from your vantage point.
Right. So men are more visionaries.
Yes, I
And
can see.
so that's crucial to understand because we're gonna see we're gonna typically see ahead, and when it comes to money, when it comes to the home, when it comes to planning, we're gonna think ahead, and for the most part, we're not gonna think just just for right now or just to day. And for example, that's been a thing that we've experienced, with ourselves,
Mhm.
and so I think it's important that when uh, in that aspect again, into because a person has to be able to see past the day to day,
Mhm.
because it's like living paycheck to paycheck, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so if you don't like living paycheck to paycheck, then you shouldn't live day to day in regards to what's happening. And so then you just get into survival mode. And so when someone tries to come and say, "Hey, why are you in survival mode? Why are you rushing to handle your business when you hear crying?" Because you're in the moment, and it's hard for typically mothers or women to not be in the moment, just in the moment. It's okay to be in the moment, but when you're just in the moment all the time, then you start to eliminate, and then you start to take away from looking ahead and plan. And then people, what happens is they make that their normal, and then they're used to not planning ahead, then they're used to not doing the vision, and used to not saying, okay, how am I thinking 5 years instead of a week from now.
I think that's great that you said that. And even as you're saying that, it's making me think, yeah, you're giving language to my thoughts. You're giving language to the symptoms of even my own, things I deal with. You said we're oftentimes in survival mode.
Hmm.
And that is true. I don't know what it is. There's so much. Oh my. I'm not crying, you are. Um, as a mother, right? If I just look and wear that hat, there's so much that I gotta do. There's so much that goes on. And the reason why I wanted you on today, because I know women that are married that struggle just like I do, that are in that survival mode, right?
Hmm.
And so it's easy to think, oh, duh, single women they struggle, or duh, divorced women they struggle. And I'm not knocking that, but there are
Hmm.
married women that struggle because we're not taught how to get out of survival mode when we don't have to be. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
like an automatic thing. I'm supposed to struggle. I'm supposed to wake up and just run all day. And so then when you see a healthy couple, their marriage can be healthy, but then when you
Hmm.
yeah, when you look day to day, it's kind of like the kids and the mom are on this side and the father's on that side. And the women only touch base with the men on certain things, but everything else is on her. I mean, we're supposed to cook, we're supposed to clean, we're supposed to um look good. We're supposed to have it together. Our kids are supposed to be well mannered. They're supposed to be well educated. They're supposed to be disciplined. And we're supposed to give you some on a regular. We're supposed to be sexy for you. And so it's like all these things are coming around because I have to be a good mother, and a good mother has to make sure I have a happy husband and a happy home. And so it's kind of like these unrealistic um, things that go on in our mind. And so, like you said, we go to this default setting that, hey, it's all on me. I'm the one supposed to
Hmm.
do it. And so when we're talking about joint parenting, we're talking about unity here. That is one thing I can really commend you and I on is we strive to
Hmm.
work together. Your fatherhood strengthening my motherhood and strengthening your fatherhood, working together because let's be honest, it's not meant to be done alone. Yes, you can do it alone,
Hmm.
but that's that survival mode, right? When you do it together, it's you're both thriving and you're both enjoying your both experience separately but also together. um,
Hmm.
and so when we're talking about like that survival mode, what are why do you think that women automatically kind of take on the brunt or take on the main responsibility, the weight of feeling like we're the ones that have to raise the kids, we're the ones that have to do the day to day?
Um,
I mean, look at this live example. You upstairs, I got her wilding out. Hold on. You know, like this is a live picture right
you
here.
you represent food. Yeah, she know too.
Mommy
Hi,
got the.
Ava Rain. Hi, Ava Rain.
That's a good point. Is we take on the brunt too because we're
And
the ones that had the food
and
and from the.
so yeah, and so women see that as a bad thing. It's it you know who do they come to, when they dealing with something at school and they fighting a kid or something. For the most part they're gonna come to the dad. And when it comes to you know probably not all the time, but for the most part, anything having to probably do with sports or just something or camping or they're gonna come to that. So they each person represents what that person does. And so it's not I don't think I think feeling the brunt or feeling um that thing is I believe is naturally, it's part natural that what we're called to do and who we're called to be as our responsibilities and our roles in the home. And so no matter how much people want to try to deny that, that's in us. It's innate. It's nature.
Mhm.
And you can only fight nature so much. And you can add to it by saying, okay, well then now mom is going to go to work as well. But still, when mom comes home, for the most part, probably she'll cook, right? The husband will probably do the dishes, and the mom will probably still continue to nurture, right? The dad will still say, "Hey, come here, I'm gonna teach you how to throw some punches. Come here, I'm gonna teach you how to navigate a conversation, teach you how to talk to women, teach you how uh, to shave and be a man, right?" And so naturally, we have to know what's natural in that sense of who they look to and what we feel our responsibility is. And you know and it's a trade-off, right? Because there's some things that I feel like are on me
Mhm.
to do. And so, but I'm like, yeah, that makes sense when I think about it. Every time Ava sees you, she cries. It makes sense because you're food.
Yeah.
You're half food, half mom.
Yes.
When people like cartoons, they're really hungry and they see a person and the person turns into like a piece of bread. That's how you turn into a big bottle
That's
when
funny.
Ava sees you.
Yeah, that's true. It makes sense. Women are more the day to day, like we said earlier, right? It's our job to nurture. The kid needs to eat all day, so who's the main one that feeds them? The kid. These are some day to day stuff where the dad has more of the. I don't want to say one offers, but it's not every day they're coming home talking about somebody fighting them at school. It's not every day that they're playing
Right.
baseball. So because of the roles are a little bit different, we get more the day
Hmm.
to day aspects. But I have someone here. I don't know why my phone's not telling me who the person is, but I think this is so good. I feel like it's been different learning my role as a step parent when I come in. My hubby had been doing all of it himself. So finding my place has been a learning process. That
That's
it goes back.
something
Yeah,
that's
right. It's like
something
the
we can
roles
both
flip.
speak to.
Yeah. It's kind of like the roles flip because that person they're doing the day-to-day stuff. And so in that case, the father's doing the day-to-day
Yeah.
things. And so then it's kind of like trying to incorporate the other person. You know what I mean? Especially as a woman, our job is to nurture. And here this
Hmm.
father has stepped up and is doing the nurturing. So it's more about who's that person that's nurturing. Because I've also seen single fathers that do that too.
Right. And the question, right, how long have they been doing it? Because it takes time. And I know for us it was okay. I know initially at the beginning of our marriage, I think you had paid a bill and then I came and paid the same bill. And then I was like, what are we doing, man? Why aren't you communicating and something? And so communicating, right? And then sitting down and identifying what those roles are, and and out of respect, right, for that relationship of the father or the mother and then the kids, it's important to say, okay, hey, um, because a person, whether man or woman, will have a natural instinct to want to come in as that role. And it's like a father not being in someone's life for 20 years and then they come like, yeah, I'm here now, I'm a father. Like, no, bro, you gotta earn that. You gotta
Yeah, yeah.
earn the respect as a mother or a mother figure, and or however it is, and they have to make that determination of how they want that relationship to be, and you can only do so much. And so it's really communicating with the parent and saying, hey, no, who knows your kids better than you, and then sitting down and saying, okay. And it's not about, please don't change who you are to try to please kids. Please don't. Kids will see through that, and they're gonna make you work harder. They'll take advantage of it. Be you, be genuine in your care and in your approach. Like, don't try to change who you are and make it fake, because it's not gonna work, and it's just gonna make you work harder, make you look silly. And
It's right.
your husband wife would be like, "What are you doing? It's not even who you are. Why are you acting like this?" And
Yes. Babe, that was Faith. Hey, Faith.
hey,
Yeah, that is, she's saying that they got married, um, been married for 3 years in July.
yeah,
I love that because it really brings in like the full picture of what we're saying. It's not just, it's kind of like we see on TV what husband and wife and father and mother is supposed to be like. And then when we
TV.
get into it, right, we get into it and it's like, whoa, this is not it. You really have to find your own rhythm and how you are as a couple. And we're not talking about marriage today because Lord knows we can talk for days.
Yeah.
But one thing that really hurt me and Jonathan when we first got married was, well, these are the roles that we're supposed to fit into. I'm supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. And we kept clashing because it's like you ain't, and we were fighting until one day Mama Yet said, y'all are like, what makes you think that you're supposed to do this? What makes you think you're supposed to do that? Also, we were dealing with cultural differences.
Mm,
So
yeah.
black women and black men, these are our roles. Hispanic men and Hispanic women, this is our roles. And so we come together with these expectations, and it's like, no, that don't work.
Hmm.
But the same thing happens with motherhood and fatherhood. And so
Yeah.
before we get off today, I wanted to give them a few things that we do that you incorporate motherhood and I incorporate fatherhood to kind of help alleviate the discrepancy between what we're supposed to do as roles. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Just to give some people some ideas, because really what's going to help you is making it your own. Um, I love that you said that about don't change your personality, your character, just to accommodate your kids. For an example, I'm not the outdoor parent. No, you're not going to see me out here playing in the snow with kids. The last time I played on the playground with the kids trying to be the fun parent, I twisted my ankle and was down for like how many months, babe? Yeah, I was doing too much. I was trying too hard to
Doing too much.
overcompensate. Yeah, overcompensate. Well, Jonathan's always a fun parent. I'm sick and tired of not being, like,
And we over here like,
look at Mama
kids are
cutting up.
looking at me like, kids are like, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta leave the park. We only been here for 10 minutes.
You should have left him on that
Your
floor.
mother. Your mother. You know.
Yes, I'm not the
So
fun parent, and I had to be okay with that. But I am the educational parent where I will sit with them all day long doing activities, and I will sit in the house with them, teaching them the
Mm,
ABCs and the one, two, threes and all that kind of stuff. I'm that parent, and I'm okay with that.
yeah. I'm
Uh,
the what's two plus two?
yeah, he does not have the
How many
patience.
fingers are on this hand? How many fingers is that? Six. Count your fingers, man.
No, we learned that early on. He is not the one to have patience with the education because kids are supposed to love, you know what I mean, learning. And John's like, get
Yeah,
I'm
they're
like,
like, I don't want to learn no more.
okay. Another personality difference, for example, I'm the more patient one. You're not, right?
Mm-hmm.
One thing I love that we do is when we see each other kind of, you're not the, I want to say, you're not the patient one. I am, depending upon what it is.
Yeah,
You,
it goes back and forth.
yeah, because that's what I was about to say. I was like, wait, hold on. Because there's times too where I'm sitting here and all this noise and chaos, and he sees me start to deflate, and he's like, he could just say one word and everything, poof. And I'm like, okay, it's so interesting how that works out. What is an example that you can think of, kind of like, okay, I can see her about to spiral. This is where I'm going to step in.
Yeah, it's funny, man. It's weird because, like I said, they go back and forth. Like sometimes I see you getting frustrated. I'm like, why are you getting so frustrated? Like we chilling, and you're like, but I don't think it's more the kids. I think it's more of ourself
Mm-hmm.
and in that moment. So whatever we've been dealing with, with the day or how even just how we woke up, we just didn't get enough sleep. So I think it's just determining factors on what plays a role in that. But it's the most important thing you said is acknowledging how you're how you're interacting with the kids, right? And then being able to identify how the other person is interacting with the kids. And so you gotta keep an eye out for that. And
Yeah.
we learned that, uh probably we learned that the hard way, I would say, and then being able to then say, okay, well, now, okay, I see in certain situations, I know to, keep an eye out or,
Mm-hmm.
and just see if you're getting flustered or, impatient or whatever the case may be. And, and we've learned to communicate that and it's again, for the sake of the kids getting the best of that situation, whether it's
Yeah.
teaching, whether it's playing outside, and you know, like let's go get in the car. We'll go to the park, or you letting me sleep, coming home. I fall asleep at like 6, 7 p.m. and I'm out to the next day, and being able to respect those moments, and I think that's how we learned that through communication and then being aware and.
Yeah. Um, that's exactly it, because it is interesting too, because sometimes I'll get into the mode of just doing things, like we said earlier, on a microcosm level, and it's the day to day, and then you'll come in, you're like, you could have been just doing this and be done with it. I'm like, I couldn't even see that. Like, I didn't even know. Like,
Visionaries.
yes. So it's like, oh, okay, that helps. One thing I want to say too that Mama taught me was, that I see a lot of women do: wait till your father gets home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that. I don't do that, because that's teaching my child, you don't have to listen to me. Wait till your father gets home, then you have to listen. Or wait till your father gets home, that's when the discipline comes in. And so it
Mm-hmm.
teaches them, oh, I ain't gonna really get disciplined with my mama. I'm gonna wait, it's gonna wait till my dad gets home. And that does two things. It belittles me and what mommy has to say, but it also
Mm-hmm.
piles up stuff for when you come home. Like, I can imagine when you come home, you don't want to hear a lot of taka, taka, taka. You need to get that kid and you need to beat that child. Da, da, da. It's like, no, I handle it.
Mm-hmm.
While you're away, when you come home, then either you handle it, we both handle it, whatever the case may be. But that whole wait till your father gets home, it's not good, because then as the kid grows up, it's kind of like, there's certain things I could do with mommy and there's certain things I could do with daddy. And we don't do
Mm-hmm.
that in our household. It's both of us discipline, both. Now, granted, it's both of us discipline in different ways, but both of
Yeah.
us work together. I'm trying to think of something else that we do.
Yeah, and that's important, you know. And we have to give each other that we have to give each other that space, and and we've learned to communicate that as well, right? And not being the and being making it a normal thing to say, okay, what did your mom say, or what did your dad say?
Hmm.
And like, well, what are you asking me for then? And when they hear that, they're like, okay, damn, I tried, but it didn't work.
That's true. They stopped that at the twins stopped that at what, like age 4? That whole "I'm gonna ask mommy" or "I'm gonna
But
ask
it
daddy," even though I already got my response.
and we have to understand there's a mentality and a state of mind that is based on how we grow up, on our culture, all of that stuff, what we're taught and then what we're not taught. And
Yeah.
it's sadly, for the most part, when we grow up or we become parents for the first time, we understand and realize there's some things that we have to try to figure out. And
Hmm.
now the hardest part is being able to make the new things a second nature thought process and make it normal, right?
Yeah.
Like the kids came to me the other day and they asked me, so I was half asleep, but my first thought, or for my first response to them was, "Did you ask your mom?"
Hmm.
And they said no. I said, "Are you lying?" they said, they said no. I said, okay, well, if you didn't ask your mom, you can go ahead and do it. Okay. And so, but I wasn't even thinking about it. And so to be able to get to a place, right, as parents, as the co-parenting or whatever, motherhood, fatherhood, right? It's if you can get to a place where that consideration is instant in regards to your children, to where you're in an agreement that much, then
Hmm.
I think that's a good place to aim for.
Yeah, like doing it together. And so
Mm-hmm.
as we wrap up, I the main things we want to leave you guys with is motherhood is hard, but there's someone right there with you, especially if you are married, that is your biggest advocate. I mean, who has more invested, just as much invested as you, than the father of the child? Um, and that could look like if you guys are divorced, that could look like if you guys are married. But we really have to have these conversations with one another, and communicate what roles are we going to play? What are we going to do? I know as it pertains to certain things, like if it's in the garage, ask your father. If it's in the kitchen, ask your mother. There's some things that you could do to incorporate and put up that unified front, because it's not just for the public, it's for your children too. And so I think what
Mm-hmm.
we're going to have to start saying, Jonathan, because co-parenting is already taken, we're going to have to say joint parenting. We want to encourage you guys to joint parent your kids. It's really not on you. It really comes down to asking those questions. What works with my personality? What works with your personality?
Mm-hmm.
Even when you talked earlier about food, there are times that I deliberately give her a bottle in order for Jonathan to have bonding experience with her and feeding her. Or now she's doing baby food, so he'll feed her baby food. It's not just it's all on me. I gotta. And you have to have those hard conversations too, because I know some women who work as well. And so they're the ones getting up with the kids. And you ask the father, well, why aren't you helping to get up with the kids? Well, I got work. She does too. And so that's really a
Mm-hmm.
hard conversation when they have, no, 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 we're doing this together. And we have to hold each other accountable to that, because it's not right. It's not fair. And there's a lot of women out here that are run down, tired, because they're not incorporating the father. A, because we're not taught to. B, it's our default setting that it's all on me. And it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. And if you don't have kids yet or are dating and are not married, have that conversation
Hello.
before you get married, before you have kids. Have those conversations. Go to a premarital counselor that is going to give you all of the ugly things, right? Hard things that you need to talk about, and figure those things out before you have, a child with someone where you're like, this chick is crazy or this guy is no good for nothing, and then you start the whole generational thing of toxicity in regards to what parents are and what parents should be. And, also, final, I guess, thought is, does your parenting cause confusion to your kids? I would ask that question. Are your kids confused about what their parents are doing and who they are? And that is a big, that'd be the biggest indicator of, okay, we need to fix something.
Yeah, we have to talk about it. Look, Cece over here clowning me. Kia, you need to chill. I'm trying. Kiki said major pain.
Chill with what?
Because we were talking earlier about, me just doing the most. And I have to pray and ask God all the time, help me, Lord, to
Well,
figure out what's
yeah.
really important. Like you taught me, make the main thing the main thing. What am I really trying to teach my
Hmm.
kids? Am I really trying to teach them, running around yelling and screaming is a peaceful, joyful life? No. So I thank you, sir, for being on. I hope and pray that as the conversation continues in your homes, that you figure out how to jointly work together as parents. And if you guys are separated, raising kids, respecting each other's motherhood and fatherhood is a great way to
Hmm.
start. I said it last week. Just because you guys may not get along, um, it doesn't mean that your relationships with your children have to be at odds. I've seen
Yeah.
plenty of fathers that don't get along with the mother and have had phenomenal relationships with their children. Um,
Hmm.
and then, like you said earlier on about being mindful before you get um, into a situation having kids, I also said last week, my body, my choice needs to be happening before you lay down with that man. Because
Mm.
somebody said to me, it's not a 50-50 chance to have kids. And I say it is, because either I'm gonna come up out of this bed pregnant or I ain't. I don't care what them condoms say, 99, but you gonna either come up pregnant or not. So before you do that, talk to this man, figure out how are you know what I mean? Personality wise, co-parenting wise, whatever the case may be, it needs to be said. But then also, if you do end up pregnant, don't automatically assume that that man is not going to be there. Don't give him an escape just because you might think that women are supposed to do this on their own, or there's that pride of being in survival mode. No. Hey, I'm pregnant. How are we going to work this out?
You
Don't give
you
him way.
but you notice that though, right? That
Yeah.
their natural instinct or default is to be like, I'm screwed. I'm gonna do this by myself.
Yeah,
For
because
the majority, not everybody, but why do we fall into those type of things? And then men do it as well. Of, man, I'm screwed, or I didn't have a father, or I don't want to be with her. It was just a one, right? And so now they start to uh, dictate the role as a father to the relationship to the mother,
mhm,
right? I don't want to be with her, so I don't want kids. Versus, I don't feel like I want to be with you, but I'm here for this,
for my
the sake of
child.
my child, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
yeah.
And it's a total whole other thing. It doesn't have to be um, lumped together. But if you are married, we got to work out together. You know what I mean? And just make it a beautiful thing. So, all right, you guys. I pray you guys enjoy your day. Ava, Kiki says hi. We pray that you guys have an awesome week. We pray that as you guys are traveling, that you are being safe out there in these streets. COVID still exists. So keep yourself safe, do what you best you can for your families, and work together. Have a wonderful day on purpose.